In this lesson, we will continue with purchasing, and specifically we're going to take a look at shipping charges and returned merchandise. Now the first thing for you to do is to navigate over to Drive B and look for this folder, the purchasing folder that we used in a previous lesson. And the document that we are going to be using today is Purchasing Merchandise 2, Student. For those of you that were absent for our first purchasing assignment, the first purchasing assignment is Cash Discount Calculator Student. And so that's the lesson you'll want to be doing. So go ahead and get that open and get that saved to your Dropbox. All right, assuming you've got that saved, the next step is to take a look at the information I have here, and what you'll want to do right now is to get this information for returned merchandise keyed into your worksheet, and also the shipping charges. All of this information is the same from the previous lesson, so you don't have to do anything with that, but some of our calculations will be a little different because we have to account for returned merchandise and for shipping charges and how those situations are handled. So go ahead and pause the video and key in the information for returned merchandise and for shipping charges. And then we'll go ahead and start some calculations, which I've highlighted on my sheet here in gray just to make it a little bit easier for us to see those. Okay, assuming you've got that information in, and make sure you've double checked it. Don't want to have any key errors. And so the first thing that we're going to take a look at here is talk about returned merchandise. I'm sure all of you have returned something to the store before, especially after the holidays or after a birthday when you receive a gift. You don't want it, you take it back. And so either you exchange it for something else or get full credit for whatever amount that you are returning. So here we're just assuming that we're getting full credit for the amount of merchandise that's being returned. And once again, we're also assuming that the discount will be taken for each one of these purchases. So let's see, before we begin, let's clean up our worksheet just a little bit. Let's go ahead and highlight this, and we will put a border underneath it. That looks a little nicer. And I think I'm also going to take my discount rate here and just put it in the center. So I'll give you a minute to take care of that. And with that completed, I think we can go ahead and start doing some calculations. So let's start with the returned merchandise. That is going to be a simple subtraction problem. We are simply going to take the original invoice amount and subtract the amount of the return. And so we're going to get a new balance for that invoice. And so this is going to be the amount that needs to be paid less the discount. And then we have to include the shipping charges. So once again, like we did in that previous lesson, you need to calculate the discount amount. And so that will now involve the invoice less the returns multiplied times the discount rate. And you will recall from our previous lesson, this 1% comes from 1/10, N30, 1% discount if paid within 10 days. Otherwise, the net amount or the total amount is due within 30 days. So if they didn't take this discount, if they paid in 11 days, 12, 13, 14, 15 days, they would have to pay this full amount here. There would be no discount. So you have to pay within this 10-day period in order to take advantage of the 1% discount. So the discount amount, once again, equal sign 1% of or times the new invoice balance, which contains or includes a balance with the returned merchandise. $3.79. So now let's take a look at the net amount due. Now what's important here is that you may have noticed that we did not include any shipping charges with this discount. So it's very important that you calculate discounts prior to doing anything with the shipping, because you can't take a cash discount on the shipping. So we're not allowing that. So here's a little note that I put in. Well, let me see if I can just show that comment. There it is. Alrighty, so cash discounts are not calculated on shipping charges. You keep in mind that shipping charges usually come from a different company. So the company you're buying from is not going to give you a discount on UPS or Federal Express, for example. So cash discounts are not calculated on shipping charges. You add the shipping charges after you have calculated, there's the rest of it, after you have calculated a cash discount. So that's what we are going to do. So, simple arithmetic here. It's going to be, start with our equal sign, the invoice amount minus the discount, just like in that previous lesson, and then we add the shipping charges. Let's do it one more time. Discount amount, equal sign. There's the discount rate. Oops, let's go back. I forgot to do the returns here. There we go. So, invoice less returns, original invoice amount, minus the returned merchandise. Next, calculate the discount amount. Equal sign. We are going to take 2% of the new invoice amount, or multiply 2% times the invoice, the new invoice balance. And there is our cash discount, $19.40. And the last calculation, the net amount due, the amount that must be paid. Equal sign. The new invoice balance minus the cash discount plus the shipping charges. And so there you have it. Go ahead and practice those calculations with the remainder of these invoices. Be sure to save your completed worksheet in your Dropbox, and at this time it's not necessary to print it, and when I get a chance I will come around and take a look at your completed work.